Hello everyone, Pulse here and welcome to another episode of Delving Deep ESO. Now in this episode I wanted to talk a little bit about the news that Elder Scrolls Online did not reach its T for Teen rating goal, but instead the ESRB has labeled it as an M for mature. This is kind of a funny little development, but it's also potentially a very important one, mostly because of the way that Zenimax has responded to the mature rating. So let's get into a quote that's been floating around here. The ESRB advised us that it has given the Elder Scrolls Online a mature rating. While we may disagree with the ESRB's determination, we do not plan to challenge the rating and are unwilling to change the game's content to achieve a different rating. The game we have created is the one we want our fans to play. This is pretty fantastic news as far as I see it. I mean, they've already toned it down, right? They've already attempted to reach that teen rating, so some of the stuff is less mature and adult oriented than maybe it would have been if they had targeted the M rating to begin with. But what this means to me is that because they're staying firm with what they've created, they aren't going to challenge this. Future content, stuff that comes post-release, will have the ability to be more mature oriented, right? They can take this mature rating and turn it into a positive because they're going to lock themselves in on it, and now they can tackle more adult themed stories, much more adult themed content down the line. I mean, they'll have much more free reign to push the envelope that is the mature label now. They can really go balls to the wall and give us some more adult oriented stuff if they really wanted to. They can really push that mature label. So that's, I think in my eyes, that's a pretty positive thing, because Elder Scrolls Online has never been a teen game. It's always been pretty mature anyway. So I think this just fits Elder Scrolls better in the long run in general. It's just better. Now, to give the opposing side, the negative side, why were the developers at Zenimax Online Studios even attempting the teen rating, right? That's the question. Why were they doing that in the first place? Well, the answer is pretty obvious. It's because a lower age barrier for purchase equates to more sales. At least that's how it's supposed to work. That's how it should work. That's how a logical person would see it. If you're 13, you can't play an M game, so if the game is labeled 13, then that guy will purchase, whereas if it's M, he won't. The problem is that's not how the way the world works. That's not how it works. I mean, I'll go ahead and admit I'm not too well versed in how games are sold outside of the US and EU, but I really don't see this impacting the sales of the game in the slightest. I mean, that 13 or that 15 or that 12, that 10-year-old that wanted to play the game but now they can't, they're just going to get mommy and daddy or a friend to buy it. That's how it works these days. I mean, if you want the game bad enough, you're either that whiny little kid who gets what they want and their mommy and daddy pays for it, or they get the unbeknownst relative to buy it, or what have you. You kind of be sly and cry about it. Or the other side, which is I fell into when I was a kid, was you played the sly route. You played the plan route. You checked ahead of what the game, where it was going to be, how you could get it, who you could get it from, just so that you can get that game that you're not quote-unquote legally allowed to play. I mean, in my case, again, my mother was pretty hard on me growing up when it came to reading the ESRB. She was one of the few parents that did so in the community that I lived in at the time. And so for the longest time, I was content restricted on what I was able to play. But damned, I'm getting the game I want. I mean, I wasn't going to miss out talking about the Halos and the Gears of Wars and the Call of Duties and all that stuff when I was growing up. And so I always finagled a way to get my game. I mean, I remember those ones in particular were kind of iffy because I remember playing them when the parents weren't around, kind of thing. But I mean, the idea still stands that if you're a younger gamer, it doesn't matter, because the ESRB rating as it is, it's there for safety reasons. It is there to filter the content away from the young minds. Problem is, it's not well done because the rating doesn't keep it out of the hands of the people it's not for. So to be completely honest, I don't see the sales impact. I'm not seeing that happening here because there's a couple things going on. I mean, I see a lot of people coming on like instantly going, oh, thank God those 12-year-old trolls aren't going to be in my ESO now. They'll just stick to their Call of Duties, which is silly considering that Call of Duty is mature as well. But to those people, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, Mr. and or Mrs. Oblivious, but you missed two major points with that argument, or that comment really. One, age doesn't equal maturity level. That's a big one. And more often than not, the 12-year-old that's sitting there that you're labeling as a quote-unquote 12-year-old is actually in their 20s or 30s, and they're just a total dickhole. And then two, those kinds of people they're going to plague you anywhere you go that's connected to the internet, because there's this anonymous thing. You can be anonymous on the internet, and for some reason that just brings out the worst in people, because they don't worry about any repercussions. Those two big things with that, honestly. But let's get back to ESO. I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty damn happy about this, honestly. I don't really see how this is going to impact the community, honestly. I really don't see how it's going to. I'm sure there's some metric out there that somebody's running, some maths that'll be, well, they'll lose such and such % of total box sales because of the mature rating. But honestly, it's not going to hurt the game's initial financial plans. Otherwise, they would have challenged the teen rating if they really thought it was a problem. And it also means that the developers can stick to the mature rating. They can now deliberately go for more mature content. They don't have to sit there and deliberately hold back. They don't have to have their hands tied because they're within the restrictions that are in a teen rated game. I really feel like this is going to make ESO better in the long run, since again their hands aren't tied down. They can kind of just do what they want. They can go anywhere their heart desires, really. I mean, there's very little you can't do in the mature rating anymore. I mean, just look at The Witcher. I mean, that really pushes the envelope. So they can go as mature as that, which they won't. So there's lots more that they can do with ESO now that they're just going to stick with the mature rating. So I'm pretty happy about it. But you guys let me know down below, are you happy with the mature rating? Are you one of the few that's not going to be able to get the game because of the mature rating? I'm curious to see, because I'm sure there are people out there that this will affect. I just don't think it's going to be very many. But yeah, again, let me know down in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends, comment down below. And thanks again for watching. I will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.